So it seems like Overwatch 2 is unfortunately going down a corporate path that nobody really likes at all, and Blizzard just doesn't really seem to care, and they're gonna stick with their guns, and they're gonna continue to overly monetize the game to oblivion. Ever since Overwatch 2 first launched, it had more than just a rocky start. It had a pretty crappy start, and the fact that they're overhauling the monetization in the game, and the fact that everything's just so overpriced now in Overwatch 2 is just outrageous and greedy, and it's just unacceptable. And you think at this point Blizzard would have got the hint and they would have tried to backtrack on some of their choices for Overwatch 2. And you'd think that they would actually try to actually cut back on the prices, right? But no, instead they're doing the exact opposite, and they're going to double down on their greedy monetization. And now Blizzard is going to be locking story missions behind a paywall. I am not exaggerating. Blizzard is locking story missions behind a paywall, and they're gonna make Overwatch 2 even more corporate and more overly monetized. And there have been reports that people are going to be boycotting Overwatch 2, and people are just going to stop playing Overwatch 2 outright entirely because of Blizzard's greed and the fact that they're just getting too carried away with the monetization. Now, I want to read you guys this article because it kind of explains a little bit of why Blizzard is doing this. This article comes from mxdwn.com. I don't know how to pronounce that word properly, but I'm going to pull up the article and I'm going to read it to you all, and I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions as we go along. Now, if you want to read the article for yourself, I will leave a link in the description so you can all go check it out. But I'm going to read you all the article and give you my thoughts and opinions as we go along. 3 story missions coming to the Season 6 update August 10th will be put behind a $15 paywall. There's also a $40 bundle option which offers extra in-game items alongside the story missions. The details have rather confused and annoyed fans, and little information has been provided further to clarify. In the blog post, paying for the story missions will provide permanent access to the Overwatch 2 Invasion story mode. Does this mean who buys the story missions can play them at any time months later once another season rolls around? Or in order to solely, I think is how you say that, access the player versus enemy story missions of Overwatch is to pay $15. It's a strange announcement, and Blizzard has yet to clarify anything beyond what was announced. Previously in Overwatch, story missions such as the Archives event acted merely as a seasonal event, with story missions include as a separate game mode to access at any time only throughout the season event. Now, obviously, this has upset a lot of players, including myself, because you think that we would get something like this for free as like some kind of limited time event, right? No. Instead, Blizzard decides to say, you know what, screw the player base, let's double down on our greed and put them behind a $15 paywall. Or, even worse, let's put it behind a $40 paywall and give them access to a few story missions. Which, again, doesn't really make any sense. Why would you put story missions behind a $15 paywall? This is literally a basic feature that should have been in the game at launch for Overwatch 2, but instead they decide to just monetize the player base even more, rubbing people the wrong way. And I think that anybody with a brain at this point can clearly see, like, as long as Blizzard continues to pull bullshit like this, no one's gonna play their game, and people are just gonna step away from this game and start to protest against this game. And this is very unfortunate because I love Overwatch. I was a big fan of it, but ever since Overwatch 2 launched, I just been not interested and put off. And the fact that they're overly monetizing story events, which literally is just a basic feature that should have been in the game at launch, they're just pretty much selling us a basic feature that should have been in the game in the first place. And this is gonna piss off the community even more because everyone is calling out Blizzard, saying like this company is getting even worse by the day with Overwatch 2. And trust me, Overwatch 2 has been going down the toilet ever since the game launched in the first place. But let's go back to the article, shall we? Because there is still more I want to discuss. Since Overwatch 2 has gone free to play, there have been numerous criticisms from the community of dedicated fans upset at the price of in game items, features being removed in Overwatch 2, and now a paywall behind story missions is not a good start for the revamped hero shooter. This announcement comes after Overwatch 2's hero mode would be scrapped. And as a promised feature for Overwatch 2 that would have given heroes skill trees and new abilities. At this point in Overwatch's life cycle, it's been made pretty clear that Blizzard does not care about the Overwatch franchise at all. They don't care about the players, they don't care about their feedback, they don't care about the franchise. They're turning Overwatch into a corporate cash cow that nobody wanted in the first place. And ever since Overwatch 2 did go free to play, like, this game has just been questioned right off the jump. Like, why would you jump from $40 from Overwatch 1 into a free to play Overwatch 2? Like, for God's sakes, people are saying online like they would rather have loot boxes come back into Overwatch instead of this new overly monetized system. Now, I don't want to give off the wrong vibes here, but the fact that people would rather go back to loot boxes just proves how terrible this monetization has gotten for Overwatch 2. And again, that doesn't mean like, oh, hey, people want loot boxes back. Let's just bring it back into the game. No, people are trying to say like they would rather go back to the loot box system because it was at least more tolerable and more acceptable. And it was actually, I don't want to say affordable, but it was actually far better than what Blizzard is doing now, especially because you get to earn those loot boxes for free by just leveling up in the game very easily. Like, it's just sad to see a legendary franchise just fall from grace. It used to be high and mighty, but now it's just fallen off the pedestal and now it's just become one of the most hated and corporate games out there. And that's just a shame because I loved Overwatch. I loved the franchise. I loved the characters. I loved the universe. I thought Overwatch was amazing. But ever since Overwatch 2 came out, and with the updates that it's gotten, it's just the same Overwatch, but with a more monetized scheme that's going on that Blizzard decided to implement. This is literally the same Overwatch, but it's more overly monetized. That's all it is. And the sad truth is, we can't go back to the original Overwatch because the original Overwatch was updated into Overwatch 2. So unfortunately, there's no way we can go back to the older title for Overwatch. More people would rather go back to the OG Overwatch instead of Overwatch 2. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen. So I guess the original Overwatch is just been lost in the void. So there goes game preservation for that. So I guess this is just a big rest in peace to the Overwatch franchise as we know it. As a day one player of Overwatch, just seeing the direction that it has gone through and seeing what Blizzard is doing to this franchise, I've went from being a big fan of Overwatch to completely not interested and put off to just absolutely hating the Overwatch franchise now. And it's very unfortunate because I want to play this game. I want to play this game with my friends. I want this game to be good. And don't get me wrong, the core gameplay is still fantastic, but at the end of the day, what Blizzard has done to this franchise is just unacceptable. And I don't want to play this game anymore because of what Blizzard has done. So, I guess this is just yet another franchise that has just fallen to corporate greed, and I guess this is just a big slap in the face to everybody. So, with that being said, thank you everyone for watching and for listening. Let me know what you all think in the comments down below, and until next time, I'm avoiding Overwatch 2 like it's the goddamn plague, and I'll see you all later.